He'd be sat at the top of the tables. That man spread out, taking up physical space. Everyone.
The man spread for a minute.
Yeah, you do that. You've got the outfit on.
I have got the boiler suit on.
The beauty of being a sector agnostic leader is you don't know anything about the sector you're going in. You've got everybody else knows it. That's their world. Yeah. So you haven't got the luxury of going to sit there and actually almost lead. You're leading from the back, which is a very different type of leadership. You're allowing everybody else to lead from the front, which people love. But it allows you that moment of reflection, of sitting back and listening and being comfortable with stuff you don't know and being comfortable with those awkward silences and being comfortable with asking all the daft questions and being comfortable with reflecting on the answers that you're giving.
Welcome to the Deep Sea Dive, the place where we take a dive into all things culture, change, communications and leadership coaching related. I am Lorna Leeson and this is...
Lottie Dahl.
And this... over here again.
This.
What? This is... I shouldn't do the intro.
No, I don't think you should. You're sacked. You're fired, said Alan Sugar.
I'm mainly decorative.
That's patently untrue. Although you need to stay in your lane. You're never doing an intro again. You've had 2 goes now.
Can we reintroduce Brandie?
Yeah.
Brandie Deignan, pleasure to be here with you, ladies.
With the silent G.
With a silent G.
The silent G.
Like thought. So Brandie, we had a first half of this pod and we rattled through, mainly kind of riffing on the theme of role models and finding yourself one. And you said something in that I think was a really kind of got me thinking when we first talked about it, and it's a nice bridge where I'd really love for you to go here, which is turning up, not really realising you are a role model, feeling that you are the only person in a room of, by now, senior folks that looks or feels or sounds like you or comes from a background like yours, whatever else it might be, or is your gender, whatever it might be. And I'm going to be honest, the thought that struck me first when I was listening to you talk about that was like, holy crap, if that was me, I'd feel like such an imposter. But that is not how you framed it.
No. So imposters there, it's always there. It's always going to be there. I always feel it. So let's just put it out there.
Yeah, in fact, I can remember Michelle Obama, brilliant interview with Michelle Obama, her having achieved so much, sat there and said, I still feel imposter syndrome. And it's just like, oh my goodness, It's almost gave us all permission to feel a little bit like that sometimes.
Absolutely.
However.
It is there. So it's a heartbeat in the corner of my heart somewhere. But I also very earlier on realised I can do something with this or do nothing.
Yeah.
Because I looked around me genuinely, I looked left, right, front, back, and no one was coming.
Yeah.
So I thought, I've got to grab this. So I flipped it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I flipped it because that was all I had. That was my only option. I either flip or I carry on letting the imposter syndrome go.
Yeah, and what you've got on your LinkedIn that I love, and I know this is kind of almost like your personal brand, is being different is my superpower.
Yes.
Just talk to us about that.
So there's 2 parts of it.
Yeah.
There is the bit where I constantly used to hear, oh God, you're so different. I don't know, I've rocked up in bright pink today, so I know that I rock up and I like to be seen. I don't like to be in the corner keeping quiet. So I used to hear a lot as I was growing up, and now, oh, you're so different. So I know I'm different. So being different, I have always thought it's really good, and I've been in spaces where I have been different as well. So flipping and then taking the difference, so actually flip it into a superpower has been amazing for me personally.
What does it mean to make it a superpower?
So what I do is I look at all the challenges that being different could bring me, and there is a lot. If I started a blank page, I'd have 2 pages. And I think actually if I look at all these challenges, how could I turn all of these into positive energy and do things differently with this huge difference, which actually nobody else has. Because look, nobody else can be like me. I'm taken. I have me, I'm taken. So how do I use me a bit more differently?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what's really interesting looking back on the sectors you've chosen to work, and I know with your network as well, you seem to almost, is it deliberately choose to step into spaces where you're going to be with people who are not necessarily like you? I mean, a lot of the sectors, a lot of the companies you work for seem to me to be quite male dominated environments.
Yes.
For a start. Was that a deliberate move on
Very
your
deliberate.
part?
So very, very deliberate. I like going into spaces where the difference is real.
Mm-hmm.
I love going to spaces where I can learn more from the difference that I have from other people as well.
Yeah.
Because actually, once you're in the room with people that are different from you, doors locked, you're learning from each other, whether you know it or not. And you're leaving an impact on each other. So we're educating each other. And so it's all been very, very deliberate from that perspective.
Yeah.
And male-dominated spaces, my favourite.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what we still, there's a tendency for women to almost kind of seem like they need to stay in their lanes, right? You know, stay in the lanes or wait to be 100% ready.
I don't think I know which the lane is that I'm supposed to stay in. Nobody told me what that lane was, but yeah.
But there
wait to be invited.
Wait to be invited, to get a seat on the table.
Correct.
Whereas I think
lucky to be here.
Yes.
What I've learned from you is that rather than trying to conform and become like men, what you do is your femininity again is one of the superpowers that you bring to your roles.
Yeah, I agree. We actually, young girls grow up. Don't just wait to be asked. Just wait.
Yeah.
We grow up with that whole 4-letter word, don't we?
Yeah, and also having to be over prepared for everything.
Correct.
You know, there's loads of studies done where boys in school, I don't like in a debating competition. I've seen it with my own kids. The boys will stand up and they will basically just ad lib. They'll go and they'll use their confidence. They'll assert themselves physically, whereas the girls are over prepared to the point of, you know, not actually being able to get across what they want to say because they're so unbelievably over-prepared. And actually, that is a set of characteristics that are hardwired and set in and carry on going throughout.
Absolutely. And we rule ourselves out. Yeah. I have had conversations with women who have said to me, oh, I don't think I've got everything that's required.
Absolutely.
And I keep saying to them, there's a queue of people waiting to rule you out. Yeah. So please don't rule yourself out. Don't be one of those that rules yourself out because there is a whole queue of people. So for me, it's very deliberate to go into these spaces because of the learning, the sharing that comes with it, and also the educating. Yeah. And I don't like rules anyway. And so it means that I can't conform if I go into these areas and these zones because it'll just all go, especially if I'm leading it. Yeah. We just have to have that no boundaries approach to the spaces that women can enter.
What does that mean? What does a no boundaries approach mean?
Because I do feel that there are some no-go zones for women, especially now in certain sectors. You have very few. It's very masculine, isn't it? And so if we allow all these spaces to be super masculine, then the cultures in these spaces will always remain masculine because they will know no different. But just imagine closing your eyes for a minute and imagining a space where it's a no-zone, no-go area for women, and the culture's always been as it is. You know, you can think of some of these sectors.
I've worked in most of these sectors.
Absolutely. And then you go as a female lead and you turn everything upside down because you're looking at it from a different lens. Yes, everybody's going to go through this a change curve. Yes, you're going to have a lot of combat. But you're ready, right? You're ready to actually really move that culture difference. And you're going to bring people on board that will allow you to do those as well. Yeah. But until we go in there, we're going to have some of these sectors where we can't go.
And also, I think becoming comfortable with discomfort.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Doing that. Yeah. Not being afraid to ask the silly questions. Yes. And again, I know that you put yourself into space where you've got a lot of learning to do and you do not mind being that person at the table that says, I don't understand that.
Absolutely.
Explain
I
that
think
to
the
me.
beauty of being a sector agnostic leader is you don't know anything about the sector you're going in. You've got everybody else knows it. That's their world.
Yeah.
So you haven't got the luxury of going to sit there and actually almost lead. You're leading from the back, which is a very different type of leadership. You're allowing everybody else to lead from the front, which people love. But it allows you that moment of reflection, of sitting back and listening and being comfortable with stuff you don't know and being comfortable with those awkward silences and being comfortable with asking all the daft questions and being comfortable with reflecting on the answers that you're giving.
So what I'm taking from this, what I'm hearing you talk about is sort of taking that permission of being the that inflection point that could turn into imposter phenomenon or could, as you say, flip and become your superpower of being different. And then using it to create almost this different leadership paradigm on a whole different spectrum of ways. So, the qualities that aren't traditionally in the room from a leadership point of view, which are maybe more female coded qualities, for example, or this idea of, I talk a lot to leaders that I coach about the always having to have the answer. And it's why there's lots of leaders who struggle then with more of a coaching approach rather than a directing approach, because they feel that they have to kind of know everything.
Yep.
This kind of implicit
invulnerability.
Yes.
And it is invulnerability, but it is also, we create leaders in that mould, this idea of you have to have all the answers.
Well,
and goodness me, we've got a world of strong men leaders at the moment, haven't we? Because who think, people look to them for all the answers. But this idea of actually, well, why should I? To me, to sit back and ask the right questions is as powerful and more empowering. And
Agree.
yeah.
Absolutely. Because, the way I look at it is I'm code switching, but I'm code switching because I want to code switch to be in a space where it allows me to listen, to learn, to actually make others pause as well. Because actually, if you think about these environments we're talking about, whilst you're doing your own personal code switching, imagine being in an all-male environment. The men are getting slightly uncomfortable and they're code switching with you as you code switch.
Yeah. Give me an
So
example
we're learning.
of that.
So I have examples where I'm in a meeting where we're talking about something really serious, and which is what happens. And I feel like my lips are dry. I feel like I do need a lip gloss. I feel like I need a break. So I pause that meeting and go, sorry, I've got to go to the loo. I am a little bit hot. My makeup is draining. My lips are dry. I've got to apply lip gloss.
Wow.
It's so disarming.
Wow.
The men are thinking, oh my God,
them.
what? No one says anything, but you educating men to say, look, at some point, a middle-aged woman will get flustered, will get a bit hot, and so the makeup will drain a bit, and they feel quite uncomfortable maybe, and they need to go to the loo, and they need to do that. So I pause the meeting. God knows what happens in the room when I do. I go and do my stuff, and I come back, and then we carry on. Now, that's education that maybe some of these men would never have had in any environment.
No.
But the next time another female does that, it's not going to be a surprise, is it?
Yeah.
Because they've been educated. So they switch codes with us.
Yeah. And I think also, the reason we don't do that, the reason you kind of implicitly don't do that is because you don't want to be judged for doing that because of all the associated codes that come with that one action, right? To being seen to be a woman in business that, thinks lip gloss is as important as the strategic initiative that we're talking about right here, or the balance sheet.
Yes. Which is where the flipping comes in, isn't it? Because you're flipping the dynamic, but you're coming back and you're holding the conversation again. So you're coming back, right, where were we? We were talking about the P&L, and then you're recapping. So they understand that there is humanity. But because look, if a man had to walk out of a meeting room to do whatever it is they needed to do, they would just go, excuse me, go out in there, and it'd be fine.
Yeah.
Of course they would.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And there are 1,000,001 male-coded things that happen in business that nobody bats an eye at.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I actually really enjoyed was during COVID when we all switched to Teams, right?
Yes.
Because typically in the old days, and I used to do a lot of work in the automotive sector, like hugely male-dominated. And you'd go into a meeting with a managing director and the physical space would be dominated by that person and his senior team. So he'd be sat at the top of the table, that man spread out, taking up physical space. Everyone,
the man spread for a minute.
Yeah, you do that. Well, you've got the outfit on.
I have got the boiler suit on. I know.
Everyone would defer to him. So kind of physically, everyone would be turned to him, right? And that's the way meeting protocol would run. And I remember being in a meeting with a particular automotive brand during COVID. Everything was on Teams, and suddenly we were all reduced to identical little rectangles. and I was in this meeting, and I was suddenly, my voice was absolutely in the room, and it remained in the room. And I came off the meeting and I thought, what's shifted? Why has this happened? And I realised that actually it was just my face, right? There was no physical difference between any of us. No one was asserting themselves in any way whatsoever. And it's just those little subtle nuances. And yeah, it was a real marked difference for me, actually. But I think if I went back in now, right, into that space, I'd be reapplying my lip gloss. I'd be telling everyone to, just hang on for a bit. But, this is 5 years ago.
I think you do. I think you do that, though. You own your femininity in a business space. You really do.
Good,
I think
like that
and
reflection.
I think that to the point you may use the word brave. I think that is still a courageous act.
I think the first time you do it is, and then it becomes norm for it genuinely is norm for me. And I think that it's actually quite a nice thing. I mean, we can't change our femininity. We've got it. And there are things that our femininity gives us, which is amazing. It gives us the ability to be emotionally intelligent, to tune in. And the stuff that men bring into conversations that are brilliant as well. They come in with that confidence that they have. We can learn from each other.
Absolutely. And this is the point. It's not an either or. Right.
It's not binary.
And when we look at some of the traits that make really, really good 21st century leaders these days, right? Whether you're a man or a woman, it is a combination of those kind of typical male business traits with some really great, strong female characteristics as well. And that's what
for me, it's less, I don't know. My read on this, listening to you, is it's not about male versus female, because this is quite a binary way of looking at things, right? This is quite a binary way of looking at things. It is very much like, back to your point, if I can notice all of my differences and own them and make them my superpower in this moment, to tie this to the previous episode, I'm giving anybody with a difference permission to bring that here. And I'm also sharing that strength with somebody else so they can borrow from it if they choose to. So if that is a white cis man in the meeting with me who has always felt the need to be invulnerable, have all the answers, be a little bit buttoned up and, kind of same grey suit as everybody else, just you by owning your difference, I'm hoping that gives them permission to then lean into
it. Does. You shape culture, you shape belonging, you shape the way things are done here, around here,
and
which is what you really want.
So it's a quid pro quo.
It is.
Absolutely. It's not the binary kind of, men, because I don't actually believe that vulnerability is kind of, I think it's female coded rather than
inherent,
innate, right? Innate. And I don't think that kind of,
but it has been hardwired into business, though.
I think in business,
it's what
strong,
I mean.
It's strongly, and I think there's lots of business where that's kind of, it's still very much operating in that kind of, we don't name it as being male or female. We just name it as being professional or competitive or whatever it might be. But they are male coded qualities in business, aren't they?
Absolutely. And I think, to your point, Lottie, the next generation and actually leading has changed from when I was a teenager. Leaders, it was hardwired, it was coded, and it was unwritten rules. Whereas now it's changing, and it will continue to change. And the best leaders will be the ones that actually tune in to modern age leadership.
Oh, we can see it very clearly. I mean, some of the clients that we work with, right? It's very, very, very clear to see those leaders who are leaning into what modern day leadership should look like, and brilliantly the impact it's having in terms of levels of trust in their teams, right? It's tried and tested, but it's still hard for a lot of people to let go of, but it's changing. It is changing and it is happening.
And I think, to bring it back to some of the things that you talked about with role models, right? I think if you are, maybe you're a male leader and you're thinking, right, okay, I'm going to lean into this vulnerability piece. It's new to me. It feels scary. It feels brave. You are building that trust, and you're giving other generations of people the courage to operate in that way as well, right? That's what you're passing on. It's that role modelling in this new way of being.
Absolutely.
And you're giving the way to somebody, to pave the way for somebody else to do it. So it's not really about you at all. It's this servant leadership policy,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. You're building culture. And it is continuous, isn't it? It's end to end, and somebody picks it up and then it passes it on. You're building that culture.
Every single day, in every single interaction, in every single behaviour.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is an excellent place to leave what has been a phenomenal two-parter with you. Thank you so much for coming in to talk to us. I mean, I think really we could just have you on every week for the rest of our lives.
3-parter,
frankly.
and 4-parter, and a 10-27-parter.
Right, exactly.
I could be sat here forever.
We could keep
Well,
you here
do you know what?
forever.
You are more than welcome to come back.
Invite me back.
Anytime.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been incredible. Thank you, Brandie.
It's been amazing being
you so
here.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's brilliant.